Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander's Core Studio. Welcome to the show. So on today's episode, I've got a spicy one for you. I'm talking about some underrated commanders that deserve a full build and a spot in your collection. Let's jump into it. And with many of these commanders, I do have a full build for you in an episode around them, so make sure you check out their deck techs, and also make sure you check out that card list link in the description below in case you're interested in any of these commanders. First up, Lynde, Cheerful, Tormentor. This is a very, very interesting and very, very unique commander with some amazing art. Again, I think that's like the unluckiest planeswalker in her hand, like a doll of it, you know, just like kind of fun, you know, curse style. There we go. Anyways, 2/4 human warlock with death touch for 4 mana in Grixis. Whenever a curse is put in your graveyard from the battlefield, return to the battlefield attached to you at the beginning of the next end step. Beginning of your upkeep, you may attach a curse attached to you to one of your opponents. If you do, draw 2 cards. Basically, curses here, curses there, curses everywhere, curses on you, unfortunately. Or is it fortunate? Because here's the thing. There are very few cards out there. There are very few commanders out there that say, hey, when something goes away, you bring it back. And all of a sudden, it comes right back into play. There is a slight delay on this, which does stop it from being completely broken because, yeah, just like sacrifice, bring back, and that's the thing. If we have a way to freely sacrifice those curses, which, yes, again, typically do have a massive downside for us, but not really unless like our opponents are actually interacting with us in that way. If we can just sacrifice them to make it so they are gone when they would be bad for us, and they can keep coming back, we can start getting triggers up things like Constellation and Eerie, and yeah, there are some great ones out there. I mean, just think about, okay, cool, yeah, hey, Doomwake Giant, all right, Constellation triggers, I've got, say, 4 curses in play. Sacrifice all of those, and yes, there are ways to sacrifice enchantments, sacrifice permanents, sacrifice those, they leave, they come back at the end step, and all of a sudden, all my opponent's creatures get -4/-4. Wipes out medium-sized to smaller creatures, obviously, even later in the game with more things in play, can wipe out even more, you know, with like 6, 7, 8 curses coming back into play, with all those Constellation triggers, you know, drawing cards off of those as well. Also getting any kind of sacrifice benefits too, do keep that in mind. And of course, yes, obviously being able to just attaching the worst of our worst curses to our opponents. A curse commander like this with the usable and abusable ability to just keep bringing back things into play. Again, even if they can be seen as detrimental to us, not really. If we've got ways to work around it, if we've got ways to actually sacrifice them, ways to take advantage of when they're coming back, yeah, you can do a lot with this commander. I think some players are a little bit worried about, oh, I don't want to like risk it and like get like taken out like by my own curses. Oh, okay. Well, if you plan ahead correctly, you know, if you plan accordingly, if you've got things to sacrifice, you're going to be fine, and you're going to be getting all of those out, and you're going to be getting all of those Constellation Eerie benefits. Check it out. You know, when you're at an ice cream shop and they've got all of the flavors laid out, my most recent favorite actually is lemon cheesecake, but the one that I often skip, and many often skip out there, is vanilla, right? You just skip it. You're like, yeah, you know, I want something with a little more flavor than that. Now, vanilla is a solid ice cream flavor, and I feel like Ruxa, Patient Professor, is just the vanilla at the shop just waiting. It's a delicious vanilla, an incredible vanilla, probably the best vanilla you tasted in your life. It's just waiting there, and players just skip over it because of vanilla. I'm here to tell you that maybe I, and maybe you, at the ice cream shop of Commander, should be just looking at that vanilla and saying, you know what, I'm here to give vanilla a shot, because vanilla is a staple for a reason. Vanilla is solid for a reason, and Ruxa, well, loves vanilla as well. A 4/4 Bear Druid for 4 mana in green. When it enters the battlefield or attacks, return target creature card with no abilities from your graveyard to the battlefield. Sorry, battlefield hand. That'd be even better. Creatures you control with no abilities get ++1. You may have creatures you control with no abilities assign their combat damage as though they weren't blocked. Now, if it was just straight to the battlefield, that was probably in my mind from our last commander we just talked about. Yes, that would probably see even more play. That being said, being able to recur creatures on ETB or attack, being able to pump creatures, again, Anthem style, that's lovely. But most importantly, basically Thorn Elementaling all of your creatures, be able to say, hey, it doesn't matter if my opponents block, they're getting hit. That's absolutely incredible. And of course, because you just care about vanilla creatures, you can just utilize things like Gigantosaurus and be like, yeah, I've got a 10/10 for 5 mana. That's all I care about. Oh, and by the way, it's 11/11 and kind of unblockable in a way because I can just assign that damage through them. So yeah, being able to go, okay, I have to dedicate myself to all the vanilla creatures. And again, we are getting more and more of them over the years, I mean, there was a bit of a gap, I would say, where we didn't get any vanilla creatures, but throughout the years, we have gotten more that are just, like, absurdly overpowered when it comes to, like, their stat level. Again, if you show Gigantosaurus to someone back, you know, in the 90s playing Magic, like, yeah, here's a 10-10 for 5 mana. Like, what's the downside? No downside. I mean, I guess it's got, like, a really specific mana value, but no downside. Like, oh my gosh. I mean, like, back then, they were like, Hill Giant was a thing. Like, 4 mana for a 3-3. Wow, that's kind of okay. Yeah, this is more so like, all right, get those, you know, really high stat creatures out, and then just swing with Wild Abandon. And then just use some massive pump effects. Yeah, not Overrun. We can't use Overrun, because we can't use Trample. We don't want Trample anyways, though, but, like, Vitalizing Wind, and all of a sudden you're pumping your massive army to even bigger proportions. Of course, keep in mind creature tokens as well. Many of them out there are actually, you know, vanilla too, so do keep that in mind. Yeah, this is a commander that gives you value, it gives you recursion, it gives you a way to get damage through. Check out the vanilla in the ice cream shop and just take a scoop. All right, I mean, actually, you have to pay for it, but I guess you can get samples. Get a sample, all right, and check out the episode on it. Moving on, Kruphix, God of Horizons. Now, I feel like the Theros gods definitely had their time in the spotlight, and some still do. I mean, like, Purphoros is absurd. Purphoros is insane. Purphoros is, like, the bane of everyone's existence. Maybe not even just for a Purphoros deck, but for, like, a Kranko deck, and it's like, when's the Purphoros coming out? Oh, no! But Kruphix, God of Horizons is one that, like, again, it is, like, the color combination that many, some players roll their eyes at, I'd say, with Simic, but, like, it is the god that, in my mind, is kind of perfect as a Theros god in what it wants to do and how it represents its color combination. It's a 4/7 god for 5 mana in Simic. It's indestructible, and it says, as long as your motion green and blue is less than 7, isn't a creature. That's okay. We don't really care about our 4/7. I mean, I guess it's a nice blocker when we need it to be, but that's okay. You have no maximum hand size. If unused mana would be empty from your mana pool, it becomes colorless instead. This commander says, okay, things that blue and green alike, all right? And again, they're like, lands and card draw. It's like, okay, yeah, all right. Not Tatsy over here, but basically with this one, okay, it does say, all right, let's benefit those two things, but in different ways, all right? No maximum hand size. I'm not giving you the card advantage, but I'm letting you keep your cards. And then I'm also not ramping you either, but I'm letting you keep your mana too. It is a mana bank, it is a card bank, both for you, and it is hard to deal with. Again, especially if it's not a creature. If it's just an enchantment, it's indestructible, there's only so many ways to deal with that. There's only so many ways that players have in their decks to deal with that, essentially. So basically, this is probably going to stick and play for you, meaning that you get to have no maximum hand size and basically no maximum mana pool for your entire game. And that no maximum mana pool is just so much fun, with no maximum hand size too, obviously. Being like, okay, I've got like 12 cards in my hand, and I've got like 24 mana to work with. Okay, opponents, try to do things on your turns and see what happens, because I probably have responses, and also on my turn, or some certain instant speed X spells too, I've got some massive spells to really just change the game. I can throw Haymaker after Haymaker after Haymaker, where some decks can only throw one Haymaker in a turn. I can throw multiple, because I've got all the resources I need. Again, you could just focus on with this kind of a commander, card draw, yeah, massive card draw in many ways, land ramp, massive land ramp in many ways, and then also big giant spells, and of course some control pieces in there too, but yeah, big giant spells. Again, decks can only have so many Haymakers, but a Kruphix deck can have so many, again, one after the other, because you can store up that mana. You can utilize certain cards like, oh, I don't know, you know, that one artifact that can tap on your opponent's turns as well, and you can just keep adding mana, Victory Chimes. It's so much fun, and you get basically like 4 mana for the price of 1 mana rock with that. You can utilize some weird cards like that. You can utilize cards like Frontier Siege, where it's like, okay, you get free mana on your combat or your pre-combat phase and your post-combat phase. Okay, cool. Well, if you don't have anything to spend that on, now you can just store it. Ways to just generate you miscellaneous mana that you can now store, and it just becomes colorless. You got other ways to fix your mana, you're fine. It is so much fun to have this as a mana bank, as a card bank. Utilize it in the best ways. Okay, I will admit that this is a bit of a strange pick in a way, but an amazing pick in a way, because first of all, it is a WUBRG commander, and WUBRG, in my opinion, is the best color combination. It's all the colors. It's great. 3/3 human wizard for WUBRG. Rukarumel, Biologist. It's a fun name to say, too. As it enters battlefield, choose a creature type. Slivers you control are and non-token creature you control of the chosen type to other types. Same is true for creature spells you control and creature cards you own that are in the battlefield. By paying 3 and tapping, create a 1/1 colorless sliver creature token. Now, this is a commander that does change an inherent rule in Magic. Typically, again, like if you're even changing creature types, it's usually just on the battlefield. It's like, all right, you're a wolf now. And it's like, okay, I guess I'm a wolf now. I was a starfish, but now I'm a wolf. Cool, awesome, great. But, I don't know why I chose those two creature types, but I did. This one says, okay, when they're not on the battlefield. So that counts when they're in your hand, when they're in your graveyard, and also when they're in your library. And especially with a library, that really can change things. And what you can do with this, yeah, you can go slivers, you can go a combination of other things too. But with this one, yeah, you can just make like a separate tribe deck where you're like, okay, slivers plus this, slivers plus that. Sure. Or, yeah, you can kind of like make it so that this is like an interchangeable commander where you're like, okay, I've got certain specific tutors for like, okay, like a really cheap elf tutor, a really cheap, sliver tutor, I guess is another thing too. There you go. But also a really cheap, goblin tutor, a really cheap, there's certain like very specific, like random, tutors for certain creature types that this can basically just say, you know what, I'm changing your creature types in your deck to that. So I can go get you that, or I can get whatever miscellaneous benefits you need in that situation for that specifically. So being able to say, okay, I can tutor for now, I can tutor for this, tutor for that, go and get those things, and then simply blink this commander. Again, obviously you're in the best color combination. We're working out all the colors you could ever want. You can have ways to blink this, to reset this, so you can change the creature type when you need to. So again, when you utilize that amazing tutor effect to go get exactly what you need, then you have another tutor effect that's for something else. You're like, okay, again, like end of the turn, Conjurer's Clause. Okay, let's switch it up, a different kind. All right, now I'll use this to go get this. Oh, I've got this effect in play for my creatures. Now I'll change them all into changing with Mirror Entity, because I can go tutor for that as well. You can build a really intricate, amazing deck with this, and players just skip it, because they're like, well, I don't want to build slivers, and I don't want to build like sliver adjacent, so I'll just skip it. It's so much fun. But now let's move back to Simic. We just went off of Simic really quick with the best color combination of Wooburg. And we're going back to Simic, though, with a very different commander with Tanazir Quandrix. A 4/4 Elder Dragon for 5 mana in Simic. Flample enters the battlefield, double the number of counters on target creature you control. When it attacks, you may have the base power and toughness of other creature you control become equal to Tanazir Quandrix's power and toughness until end of turn. Here's the thing. I feel like players immediately say like, well, okay, like I've already got like a +1 counter commander, or like there's just better +1 counter commanders out there, and I want to build around those instead. This doesn't have to be that, okay? You can completely ignore the doubling of counters on a creature. You don't have to. You can build into that, and obviously that is beneficial because that does build on top of base power and toughness. But still, if you just ignore that and say, you know what? I've got a commander that says, when I attack, everything else becomes exactly as large as I am. Which is actually pretty crazy to do, because this is a commander that you already are benefited to actually just make it obviously massive, because it's got Flample and get damage through, and obviously commander damage is a thing. So yeah, if you get this up to say a 10/10, I mean, very simply, very effectively, if you just play like a Raised by Giants essentially, which makes your commander's base power and toughness 10/10, now all of a sudden when this attacks, everything you have is a 10/10. Every single creature you have is now a 10/10. So again, if you're just making a bunch of little 1/1 saplings or whatever, you make a bunch of plants, you make a bunch of just elf tokens, whatever you're making, okay? You go wide, you get a bunch of creatures out there. Maybe some creatures out there like Cold Eye Selkie that also, benefit you when they're hitting, or Cephalid Constable. Oh my gosh. When they hit, you get like a certain benefit based on the amount of damage they're doing. Yeah, utilize those and just say, all I need to do is pump one creature. I pump my commander and that pumps everything else. Kind of like Wild Beastmaster style. Utilize a card like this to just say, all right, you're my pump effect. You are my benefit. You are the rock for me, okay, Tanazir Quandrix. I am going to say, you know what? Okay, cool, I can use counters if I want. Don't have to focus on that, though. I can just focus on going extremely wide with a bunch of creatures, doesn't matter how small they are. Maybe some that, again, some have some benefits based on, power and that kind of stuff, too. And then all of a sudden, pump this to oblivion and just decimate my opponents. Again, it's a different direction for Simic. It's one that doesn't care about card draw, doesn't care about land ramp. I mean, you're still going to have that in the deck, right? But it's not focused on those. And I think that's one of the reasons why as well. In combination with it not being the best, counters commander out there, too, players underrate it, and they should not. It is so much fun. Speaking of fun, Thantis Warweaver. Oh my gosh. Thantis Warweaver is a blast, and it completely changes the game. Now, this is one that I will say, you probably need to be pretty good at politics in a way-ish, or just good at deflecting, or maybe you're just a very friendly person, and players, have a really hard time getting mad at you. Here's one of the things, okay? In Commander can be a game that can go on for a long, long time. It's one that, yeah, you're kind of benefited in some ways, I should say, in Casual Commander, to really hold back. To okay, I don't want to overcommit. I kind of want to just build up. I want to, battle cruiser. I just want to build up my massive army, and then once eventually I get to that crucial point where I can win the game all at once, then I do it. But before then, I literally don't commit. I don't attack ever. I'm literally not attacking until like turn 10, which is insane. But that's just kind of how commander games can be, where like everyone just sits there like, I play my cards, I build up my things, your turn. I play my cards, I build up my things, your turn. I play my cards, I build up my things. Okay, we're all doing it. Cool. This says no, you can't do that. 5/5 Spider Vigilance and Reach for 6 mana in Jund. All creatures attack each combat of Fable. I say that again. All creatures attack each combat of Fable. Whenever a creature attacks you or Planeswalker you control, you get a counter on Thantis the Warweaver. So basically this says, hey, you know what? Again, that whole, unspoken strategy. It is a strategy in some ways, though, just to turtle up in Commander. Yeah, we can't do that. No. We're going to spider up. That's not a term. But everyone attacks every single turn, basically. Hey, you know what? Everything has to attack. You know that, like, Commander that is just, like, literally there for, like, window trimming, basically? It's just like, hi, I'm here never to attack. I've got cool abilities and stuff like that. And I'm just going to sit. Oh, no, I can't sit here anymore. I've got to be sent to danger. Oh, my gosh! Yeah, that's kind of how this is. Now, our commander is vigilant, so we can keep it back for defense as well. It's also going to become absolutely massive if players are attacking us. We can utilize some ways to encourage attacks elsewhere, or encourage attacks toward us as well. But yeah, being able to essentially say, I'm changing the game. I'm forcing everyone to participate in combat, which again, is something that you typically don't see in Commander. You turn the game on its head, and it is just so much fun to utilize something like this to do so. And of course, with this as well, keep in mind, you can also utilize fogs in a cool way too, which I'm a huge fan of fogs, but being able to go, okay, at a certain point, we're going to get to the, all right, I'm in a one-on-one scenario, and an opponent's going to be swinging at me most likely, because they have to, obviously. And so going, oh, okay, they think they have me, because like, finally, all right, I slogged through everything with those other players. I was forced to attack them and some other, like, goading things too. Okay. Now it's time to take out the Thantis player who forced me to do all this stuff and take out my friends. I swing at you, Alpha Strike, yeah! And then you're like, okay, Fog? What? Fog. People play Fogs? Yes, I do. Anyways, none of this matters. I was paid 1 mana and said none of it matters. Oh, okay, your turn. All right, my Thantis is gigantic. Swing, double strike, you lose. All right, good game. Yeah, have fun. All right, buckle up for this next one, though. The Haunt of Hightower. Always thought it was a very cool name. Very cool art on it as well. A 3/3 vampire that kind of looks like a skeleton in a way, too, but it's not a vampire skeleton for some reason. I don't know why. 6 mana in black, and it's got flying and lifelink, and it says, when it attacks defending player, discards a card. If it was just that, this might be the most boring commander of all time, and that's okay. Whenever a card is put in an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, let me repeat, anywhere, get a counter on the Haunt of Hightower. Here's the thing. Yes, it's a monocolor commander. Yes, it doesn't do it, I guess like black might be like the color combination, the color that like has like the broadest spectrum, I guess, of what a black commander does versus like the other ones. Like green's like big creature, like white's like wide, go wide with creatures or gain life or something like that, like black might be like the broadest spectrum of what they do. But this isn't what you would typically see on one where it's like, hey, okay, cards hit graveyard from anywhere, I grow larger. That is pretty amazing, actually, because here's the thing. When you think about commanders that can just grow super fast, you don't think about like this one as once like, okay, I start as a 3/3, which is quite low, obviously, for 6 mana, but it's going to grow quite quickly. Again, literally, whenever opponents play, say, an instant sorcery, that hits the graveyard. Whenever they say sacrificing an evolving wilds, it hits the graveyard. Whenever the creatures die, hits the graveyard as well. Whenever they get milled, whenever they discard, all of these things are going to be happening throughout the game, and this keeps growing and growing and growing. It's already evasive. It's got lifelink as well to pad your life total, or again, utilize things like Sanguine Bond to take advantage of your life gain as well. But essentially with this one, if you've got ways to maybe make your opponents have things hit the graveyard, like Edict effects, which are super easy to, get a lot out of, like a bonus hunger kind of thing, essentially. Be like, oh yeah, okay, cool. Everyone will sacrifice like half your army. And everyone's like, oh, I sacrifice 4, I sacrifice 5, oh, I sacrifice 8. Oh, okay, cool. This gets an absurd amount of counters. This, plus any kind of a double strike, can very quickly be a one-shot KO. Even without double strike, you can get there quite quickly, too. There's ways to mill, obviously. There's repeat ways to will, like Keening Stone. Oh, my gosh. Just being like, okay, at a certain point, be like, oh, yeah. All right, put 30 cards in your graveyard. Okay, this is a 33-33 out of nowhere. And all of a sudden, you're like, all right, swing, you're gone. Yeah, this is a commander that can get absolutely massive in absolutely no time. Take advantage of those, like, hey, greatest power among creatures you control type cards as well. Take advantage of that life gain, too. It is one that I do think gets slept on. I do think that is one that players like, there's, like, cooler things to do. Yeah, but have you seen how absolutely massive this can get? It is so much fun to just play this with opponents like, You know what? That's not that large. Like, it's a 3/3. Like, okay, I'm not worried about that. Also, it's like, oh my gosh, you did one thing. One thing, you played one card, and all of a sudden, this is the most massive creature on the battlefield. It is a one-shot KO. Have I told you how nice you look today? You look great. Don't swing at me, please. Please don't swing at me. Oh, they're swinging at me. Speaking of swinging, though, Vaevictis Asmadi the Dyer, a 6/6 Elder Dragon with flying for 6 mana in Jund. Very different than Thantis the Warweaver. Exact same cost, though. Whenever this attacks, for each player, choose target permanent the player controls. Those players sacrifice those permanents. Each player who sacrifices a permanent this way reveals the top card of the library, puts on the battlefield if it's a permanent card. This is one where, you know what? It's fun. It is super fun. It is a card that says, you know, let's put a little bit of randomness into this game. Let's put a little bit. I mean, there are ways, you know, maybe look at the top of your opponent's libraries and maybe dictate maybe what they have on top. There are definitely ways to do that. There are ways to ensure that you can, well, make it so that your opponents aren't going to be getting the best things off the top of their library. This is also just a repeat way to just get rid of your opponent's best things. Again, force sacrifice on any permanent. That means it gets around, like, indestructibility, so do keep that in mind. Yeah, you could just get rid of their best things and replace them with, most likely, not their best things. And so you, actually have plenty of ways to ensure that you are going to be getting your best things off the top of the library. Again, this counts you as well. You are going to be sacrificing your own permanents, but of course, you probably have some permanents that you actually want to sacrifice, some things that maybe benefit you when you sacrifice them, maybe some things that give you creature fodder when you sacrifice them. So all of a sudden, you're going to be like, okay, I sacrifice something that I wanted to sacrifice, and I get, well, something off the top of my library that I maybe tutored there. Something maybe off the top of my library that I put there from my graveyard. You can set yourself up again and again and again to get the best things on the board into play. And of course, if you've got extra combats, have fun because you get them multiple times in a turn. So even if you screwed up on the first one where you're like, okay, I attack. I forced that opponent to sacrifice that, and they're like, I hit a massive Eldrazi off the top. And you're like, oh, gross. Oh, no. Well, I get extra combat, so let's swing again. All right, get rid of the Eldrazi. You're like, I hit a land. Yeah, it's fun. Check out the deck tech on this one. Okay, hear me out. You really got to check out the deck tech on Myojin of Seeing Wins because it deserves a spot in your lineup, all right? A 3/3 Spirit for 10 mana, and that's basically it. Kind of. So here's the thing. When you play it, because the way that Wizards made the Myojin, even the new Myojin, you know, which you can debate on whether they did that correctly or not, essentially, again, as a commander, you're not playing it from your hand. At least the very first time, you're not playing it from your hand unless you, like, you know, command beacon it in your hand, okay? That is a solution for that, sure. The first time, you're spending 10 mana for a 3/3 that does nothing, which is just insane. If you're like, hey, let me convince you to build a deck around a commander, it's a 3/3 for 10 mana, and it does nothing. They're like, hey, why? And you're like, yeah, it's fun. Here we go. When it comes into play, though, it comes into play with a divinity counter on it if you played it from your hand. It's indestructible as long as there's a divinity counter on it. And by removing a divinity counter from it, you draw a card for each permanent you control. Yes. In like a regular deck, like in my Joda deck, oh my gosh. You're like, okay, with Joda Special, you pay 5 mana and you get this out into play. The old Joda, not the new Joda. Being able to play this and be like, okay, cool. I played it from my hand. Yeah, 5 mana. I just got an indestructible 3/3. I remove that counter and I draw an absurd amount of cards. But when you're building a deck around this, obviously, again, either you got a command beacon in your hand, but if you don't have that, you got to play it, you got to bounce it back to your hand, and you got to replay it. And yes, that is an insane amount of mana. Perhaps the most amount of mana that you'd ever spend to actually really get a commander actually out in the way that you wanted to get it out. You literally just spent, most likely, again, unless you have, like, let's say you even have a free bounce effect, okay? Cool. You just spent 20 mana to do all that, okay? 20 mana. And that's assuming a free bounce effect. Let's assume it's like an unsummon. Okay, it's 1 mana, all right? You spent 21 mana to do all that. Cool. Here's the thing, though. During this time, you are playing an absurd amount of mana rocks, right? You're trying to get as much mana as you can, as quickly as you can to get this out, get it back in your hand, and redo it. You did all that, all right? You've got other things in play as well. You're getting creature tokens out, you're getting different kinds of tokens out, you're getting clue tokens, you're getting all these kind of permanents out as well. And then you proliferate. And then you proliferate again. And then you proliferate again. All of a sudden, you're getting more and more divinity counters on this. So what you're going to be doing is just using this as the most absurd draw engine of all time that says, hey, for free, you can just choose to draw a card based on the number of permanents you control. Okay, that's 12 permanents. Awesome. For free, here's 12 cards. Oh, okay, you maybe play this spell that untaps all your lands or untaps all your things. Oh, okay, do it again. Oh, okay, do it again. Oh, okay, do it again. Proliferate some more. You're never going to run out of those divinity counters on it. Basically, once you are set up, you've got the best draw engine that has ever been invented in the Commander history. outside of like infinite draw engines, which technically this could probably go infinite as well, but let's just say it's not. You are going to be just making your opponents so jealous of what you are doing, and again, they're going to be laughing at you when the game started. But once you get this going, they're going to be like, oh my gosh, that is disgusting. That is insane. Please take me out. And you're like, fine, I'll play a Psychosis Crawler. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'll remove 2 counters, draw 40 cards, and you all lose. Oh, thank you for ending the game and taking us out because we were so jealous of your amazingness with the Myojin and drawing all the cards. We were so jealous we had to just lose. Okay, fine. And finally, I need to bring up, Regna as well, but Regna's okay, but Krav is really what I care about. Okay, let's just go through Regna really quick, because it's kind of like the offshoot. A 4/4 Flying Angel for 6 mana. At the beginning of each end step of your team, gain life this turn, make 2 1/1s. Cool, don't care. I mean, it's not bad. It's not great. It's actually not really all that great. But it is a partner to your commander. So you do get white with your commander because your commander is Krav. So you are in black as well. You're an Orzhov, which is great to have both those color combinations for what this commander does. Now, it's nice to have Regna as a secondary commander that you can utilize when you need to. And it's not the worst thing of all time. But you don't really got to build around it at all because Krav is just insane. A 3/3 demon for 5 mana in black. Partners, obviously. Pay a single black mana, sacrifice X creatures, target player draws X cards, gains X life, put X counters on Krav, the Unredeemed. Here's the thing. Even though it is not a free sacrifice outlet, which again, when you're building an aristocrat-style strategy, I always say there are 3 different, ingredients to the deck, basically, right? You've got your free sacrifice outlet, you've got your creature fodder, and you've got your payoff. Here's the thing. This is technically not free, but it is as cheap as you can possibly get. Again, it is 1 mana, not to sacrifice 1 creature, but as many creatures as you want. So that is near free. Okay, number 1. Number 2, this actually is the payoff. I mean, you'll have other payoffs as well, but this actually is the payoff. Where basically, again, you're like, oh, okay, cool. Hey, you know what? I am just utilizing this to draw the most insane amount of cards you've ever seen. By the way, I also gain life too, so I can take advantage of things like Sanguine Bond, or even in other cases, False Cure. Cards like that say, hey, whenever an opponent gains life, they lose life, and you're like, hey, okay, you gain 20 life. Now you lose 40. Or lose 2 life, whatever it is. Anyways, being able to utilize this as the most insane sacrifice outlet of all time, again, not free, but super value-centric, is crazy cool, crazy fun. Again, I feel like some players, when it comes to like these partner commanders, they're like, well, that one's solid, but the other one, don't want to use it. So then they just skip the whole thing. Just pretty much pretend that this is just an Orzhov commander. Literally pretend that Krav the Unredeemed is just a 3/3 demon that's got that effect. It doesn't have partner on it, and it's just 4 in Orzhov, mana symbol color. There you go. Ignore Regna. You can still use Regna. It's not the worst thing to have Regna, obviously, giving you some creature fodder when you do it. It's just an expensive commander to get out as well. This is an amazing commander that, again, is kind of like 2 parts of the aristocrat style occasion, ingredient, essentially. Like, it's just essentially the perfect encapsulation of value. Because just get that creature fodder out and then just go, okay, sacrifice it, draw a ton of cards. Oh, look what else I got. Yay! Have fun. And with that, this episode is coming to a close. Comment below with your thoughts on it. And of course, as always, thanks again and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG Player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.